What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror, your destination for all things horror. I'm AJ. This is Christy, and this will be our spoiler discussion for Night Swim, y'all. So I'll be giving you like a spoilery walkthrough of the film, and then give you our overall thoughts and rating on the first major horror film of 2024. But before we get started, we like to, kind of have like a question related to this film. And this film, since it deals with swimming pool and bad experiences with the swimming pool, do you have any bad experiences in your life related to either swimming or a pool or anything like that?
Okay, well, I'll tell you a story that happened to me, because at first I was thinking about this thing that happened to my brother, but after the thing that happened with my brother, my mom was like, okay, you guys are going to go to swim class. We're going to get swim lessons. So she took us to the Y. We had swim lessons. And I was super scared of like getting in the water. And so the guy was like, okay, Christy, it's your turn. Like he had us all like sit up on like the side of the pool. And then individually he took us out into the water. And he's like, it's your turn. And I was super scared. I don't know how I was at this time. Maybe like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Shoot,
so I was
pools,
older.
Water is scary sometimes.
I was older. Yeah. And so he goes to reach out to me. And so I grab onto his chest hairs. Wow. And I ripped them out.
Oh,
and
wow.
He screams like, ah! I was like, I'm so sorry, but I was so scared.
Right.
And he's like, put me right back on the thing. He's like, okay, next time.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I remember that. That was really traumatic.
Scared.
I don't think my mom took me back after that.
You were super scared. Good gracious.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one. I don't have any stories for, putting me in that sort of position, but I do have a story of when I think I was around like 4 or 5 years old, and I had went with like my uncle and his family and my grandma. We went to Florida to go to Universal Studios, and we had like rented like a house that had like a swimming pool or whatever. And it was like one day we were just chilling. Like it was like, I'm assuming a lot of Florida homes were like this, where you have like kind of like a big ass, like
a
sunroom type thing.
Yeah,
it's all netted and swimming pools inside of that. It has the porch and everything. So we're all out there, sitting out there. At the time, I'm pretty sure I was like 4 or 5 years old, and so I don't know anything about swimming or nothing like that. But my cousin, he's around the same age that I was, and so we're all out there. And I can't remember if anyone else was in the pool yet or not, but my cousin decides to just like run and jump into the pool. And I remember that my grandma was like on the phone. She started screaming, screaming for my uncle, like, hey, like he jumped into the pool. He's like, she's going, she on the phone at the same time. She's like, Lord have mercy, like he didn't jump into the pool. Somebody get him out the pool, because he ain't know how to swim. But it was super funny. It was a good memory. Nothing, they got him out the pool. Like nothing bad happened or anything like that. It didn't scar him. It wasn't traumatic. Anything like that. He was just super eager to.
Right. That's what happened to my brother.
Right.
That's what led us to go to swim lessons. My brother literally just walked right into the pool.
Jumped right in.
Y'all can't swim.
Hey, see, they weren't like you. Like they had no fear. They jumped right in.
Yeah.
But hey, y'all let us know down in the comments or over on the Spotify Q&A portion. Let us know if you've had any bad experiences with, whether it be with swimming or pools or anything like that in your life that's either funny, hopefully not too traumatic, but let us know all that in those comments below, y'all. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into discussing the first major horror film of 2024, Night Swim. So again, this is a spoiler discussion. So if you don't want to be spoiled, save this video, save this podcast, and then come back to it after you've seen the film, if that's what you want to do. If you don't care, then we'll, jump right into it. So like I said in the beginning, the way we break it down is we like to walk through the film and kind of give you the things that we liked and disliked as we're going through the story. And I feel like that kind of helps, have the open dialogue about the movie and kind of pinpoint the areas where we started to fall off or, lose hope in this actually, being something great. Because we've seen our out of theater reaction. You kind of already know where we stand a little bit. And then after that, we'll get into the actual rating. We do an out of 5 scale system over on our channel on In Love with Horror. So we'll give you an out of 5 rating at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. But with that, baby, I'll pass it over to you, because you are the better kind of storyteller when it comes to walking through the films. Because you always, anytime I try to do it, y'all, she's always like, "Oh man, you missed this part. You got to go back."
So, did you want to give the details about the movie first?
Yeah, I guess that would be a good idea.
Good.
Yeah, that would be a good one. So look, y'all, Night Swim. It was written and directed by Bryce McGuire, who's actually working on a lot of horror films this year. A couple, I know one of them, Imaginary, comes out in March, so one's the one that's right around the corner actually. And the film is about a family who moves into a house. The father was a former baseball player, and he got injured. It kind of looks like he has like a disease and things like that. So he had to step away, and they end up finding his house to kind of like settle in and try to get him to recover. Turns out that the pool is haunted, and then the crazy shit starts to happen from there. That's kind of the basic premise of this movie without giving too much away in the synopsis. So with that, may I turn it over to you to give us the walkthrough starting from the beginning, the intro. The opener.
Oh yes. Okay. So
with the previous family.
Right. The movie does open with a different family that the movie doesn't really focus on.
Yeah, because this is like because some films have an opener to kind of like think like Halloween.
Yeah.
They kind of give you the setup or the tone for the type of scares you're going to be experiencing.
Right.
So this is the opener, the kickstart for this film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts out at night with this little girl who. I think her brother is sick, and he had a boat that he lost, and it just so happens that this boat is churning
bottom of the pool
in the pool. So she's like, "Oh, let me go get this boat in the middle of the night." It's just so weird, but
it is random. That's the same thing. I was like,
it's such a random thing.
Yeah. I guess I couldn't figure out any other way to get her to go to the pool. Right, to get her down to the pool at night, other than, I know he really wants this boat. She wants. Yeah, he really wants this boat. I want to get it to help, make him feel better.
Right.
Cheer him up a little bit before he goes to sleep.
She goes, she sneaks outside. Apparently they had like a babysitter or maybe a night nurse or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that you get a hint that there's something weird happening from the sound of the mom's voice. So she's like, "Hey, do you want me to stay longer with the kids?" And she's like, "No, you can go ahead."
No, she's like, "No, you're good. I'll check on them in a little bit."
Yeah. But her voice sounds weird. So you kind of feel like, to me, it does.
Oh, to me, it just sounded kind of like.
It does sound weird. Yeah. Anyways, so that's how I knew something was wrong with the mom.
Okay.
But anyways, you catch on later when the story, goes on, what's actually happened that night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she goes out to get the boat. And she can't get it, so she tries to use like the pole thing that you clean the
little
pool
net
out with.
Scooper thing.
I was so frustrated because she was like inching closer to the edge. And I was like, "Oh my God, girl, just go back in the house."
Right. Yeah.
She ends up falling in, and the boat is gone.
Yep.
She ends up getting got in this scene. So you see the creature, which changes later on. I don't even know if it's like one creature or if there's just like whatever you see. But she's like coming up in the water, so she's like on the edge. She thinks it's her mom because it makes herself appear as her mom through the water.
Right, yeah.
But when she comes back up, she's gone. What she sees is not there.
Yeah, that's actually one of the issues that I do have with the film is like the creature's powers seem to be all over the place and what it's capable.
Yeah.
Or the entity or whatever it is, what it's capable of doing.
Right. I don't know if it was Bryce McGuire or someone else on their team that was at CinemaCon, or I think it was in New York. I think it's CinemaCon. New York, Comic-Con.
No, it's Comic-Con. Yeah, CinemaCon's usually in Vegas, I think.
Comic-Con. Yeah. And they made it seem as though this was going to be more of a creature feature because they talked a lot about the creature. But this is not a creature feature whatsoever.
Yeah, they went in a direction of that I think the trailer does tease that it goes in that direction. Because you see the kind of the Amityville horrorness. Right. It's part of it is in the trailer,
but it's very small.
Yeah. They don't get really they showed a little bit, but not like a whole lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so anyways,
and watch your drink over there.
I'm not
it's right next to your arm. I don't want you to knock it over.
She ends up getting pulled down in the water, and she's gone. All you see left is her little slipper, and so that's like kind of like the end of the opening scene.
Yeah. What do you think about that? How did you like the opener?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't like scary or anything.
I thought they had good suspense moments at times within
only with her trying to get the thing out. And I was like, oh my girl.
Well, yeah, because it's like, it's kind of like the opener for It, right? Like you got little Georgie going to get his boat.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
Yeah, you know, obviously, I think
I feel like this whole movie does that. Like they take from different horror movies. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's very much kind of like It. Yeah. And then we get other stuff throughout the movie too.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, It did it a lot better. But whenever I think it involves a kid, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
you
that
automatically
always
have that anticipation
things.
and that or that anxiety of like, oh, you know, I don't want this kid to get got. You know, it's gonna happen.
Right. But she does.
And she does, yeah. She does get got. And because she gets grabbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know what was more kind of like horrific about that scene was like, you know, when it was like I think it cut away, but you can still hear her like screaming, like she's screaming for her mom or something. That. And I was like, dang, well, that's
and that comes up later
sad.
too.
Yeah,
because she's constantly looking for her mom.
Yep.
But yeah, so then we go to the family that's house hunting. That's our main family. They're house hunting. They go to like this other type of neighborhood that's specifically for people who need like 88, I think it's what it's called, styled houses where they can, you know, move their wheelchairs and stuff like that around the house without any issues. But they don't really want to be there. So they end up looking at another house. Well, they pass by another house. Right. And they're like, oh, we want to see this house. It was funny I mentioned to you because like they had like all these families outside playing. And it looked like, you know, the picturesque life.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a nice neighborhood.
And I was like, I ain't never seen this many people be outside these days.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Man, that was a good community.
It was.
That much. Yep.
Yeah, so they, you know, obviously fall in love with this particular house. But while they're there, they do venture outside to look at the pool. And this was a very odd scene to me. So when the husband, he's reaching for like a ball or something. Yeah, baseball that he sees out in the pool because the pool's covered up and it's got leaves and it's, you know, dirty and stuff like that. And he ends up falling in.
Yep. Another instance of trying to get something in the pool. And they fall in because it's like, what other ways can you create in terms of suspense with getting people other than getting people to reach for stuff in the pool and fall in? But like he falls in and gets caught in the tarp and
he's down there for a hot minute.
Yeah, but he you know the water starts to have like an effect on him because he kind of gets regains strength. He has like flashbacks, he's able to get out of the water. But he gets this baseball that, you know, for this dirty old baseball that I'm like, why even reach for it? Like, why?
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
You know,
but it's because he likes baseball.
Yeah, but it's like
I don't know.
That pool is dirty as hell.
Well, we wouldn't have done that,
right?
And you definitely wouldn't have done that because it's so
nasty.
dirty. Yeah,
that water was like it had. I'm sure it got some flesh-eating bacteria, amoebas type shit in there. So, but yeah, so that happens. He falls in, and I think what does it cut to after that?
They go to the doctor, and his numbers. I think he has MS or something like that.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So his numbers are bad. So they suggest him picking up a different activity like swimming.
Yep.
And so before they leave the hospital, you know, he's like trying to, you know, encourage or, you know, just say like this is the house that we should get. And you know, the wife, she is like, yeah, sure, because you know, like we are traveling all the time. I want to have a nice place where we can raise our family and we don't have to move. Right. The kids can have, you know, put roots down or whatever.
Yep.
So that's how they end up in the house, and from there, they're just kind of like, you know, acclimating to the neighborhood. The mom is a teacher. Oh no, she works at a school. She's works in the office though. And then, you know, they literally try to get this pool ready to use. Like, I swear, I was like, dang, I know that this movie is centered around this pool, but I feel like we saw this pool like every 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, because it's all about the pool.
I know, but it was just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're trying to get the pool prepared for them to be able to use it. Now, the pool guy, I really like the pool guy, and I think he's from some other show. I don't know, but he was funny.
He was.
I was like, dang, I wish we had like another scene with him, like coming in later or something like that.
Yeah,
but
he
was
had some
really
good jokes.
good.
Like, he had good time, like comedic time.
Yeah, he really did. Yep. I also like the real estate agent. What'd you think about her?
Yeah, she was.
I think she, portrayed her character really well.
Yeah, she captured the super nice,
Yeah, but also like kind of underhanded, sleazy type way, trying to get you by the house.
Like she's trying to make the sale. Yeah, she's trying to make, she's trying to make it perfect. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she encapsulated the right tone.
I think she
vibe, did. She got the sweet lady look.
She did.
And yeah.
Yeah, so I liked her.
We encounter her later and kind of, we learn more, not more about her, but we learn that she is and was withholding stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, and so we also, get to know the characters a little bit better. Like the little kid, the youngest son, he's kind of like an outsider almost. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really fit in, and he also doesn't really connect with his dad either, who's obviously all about baseball, and obviously this kid's not very good at baseball. Mm-hmm. And the daughter, I don't know if it was baseball or softball, but they never really specified, but she's also good at it too.
Yep.
And so they kind of have like a different dynamic with their relationship than the son does with the dad. So you get to see a little bit of that. But they do still have some good moments like together.
Yeah, especially when they first got the pool up and running.
Yeah.
Like the family was in there having a good time and stuff like that when they first got into that pool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then some other small things happened, like when they were cleaning the pool and how the dad cut his hand.
Oh, right. Yep.
He cuts his hand while what was he sticking in his hand?
He's trying to unclog it. He's getting leaves and stuff like that out of the drain.
So he ends up slashing his hand. Mm-hmm. And then later on, after they spent some time in the water, his hand actually heals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when after he slashed it, that's when I think that black water or whatever started to spool out of the drain.
Yeah.
Too. Yep. Which is why they brought the pool guy.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, once they get the pool up and good, they're there all the time. Everybody is like, the mom is like out there at night by herself, and the dad obviously is spending a lot of time in there because it's supposed to help him, regain strength in his legs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so then each of the family members all have different experiences.
Yeah, the mom's the first one.
She's the first one. Now I did like this camera work within this scene to a certain point.
Yeah, there was some cool cool stuff.
There were some cool things. So she was doing like a lap in the pool. And so when you're doing laps, you put your head up left to right or whatever when you're swimming. And so like the camera would do that instead of
it was
her. So
like it was supposed to be like her head movement as she's doing like the regular just simple I don't know what you call that type of
strokes.
The regular swimming strokes with the head movement, which I thought, like you said, that was some cool camera work. Like there were like a few unique shots that in this movie.
Yeah. I did think it got like tiresome after a while. Like the where they would try to show stuff like underwater and above water at the same time. But they would do that a lot. Yeah. It was just kind of like, okay, y'all done this enough. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so while she's doing that left to right thing, you already kind of know, okay, she's probably going to see something.
It's gonna pop up.
And so she does. She sees something and she thinks it's her husband. And obviously there's no one there.
Yep.
She gets freaked out by this. Now, I did like the fact that she didn't really like let anything out of this stuff go. It was always like in the back of her mind that something was weird going on outside. And she was always like in tune to, what was happening when the kids were out there or whatever. Like if she heard that scream that one time, to her, she's like, okay, immediately something might be wrong because she's already had a bad experience with the pool.
Right. Yep.
So I did like that. Because sometimes, in these movies, they kind of act like, oh, nothing's actually happening.
Right.
But she wasn't like that. She was, from the get-go, like, she was like, okay, something's a little weird.
Right, yep.
So when she comes in the house, she realizes her husband's in the bed. And she's like, were you outside? And I'm like, this dude dead asleep, girl.
He was sleeping like a rock. But, I mean, I guess...
She had to make sure, I guess.
Right. She's like, I feel like I saw you, so I got to ask. Like, just in case somehow you magically got here before I did.
Yeah. So she suggests getting a cover, which I didn't understand how that correlated with her seeing someone outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that either. Maybe it was like, maybe she thought like people were trying to use the pool at night. Okay. So it's like, well, we cover it up and lock it or something.
Maybe like, so then. Okay, because I was like,
people can't just like jump in.
How does that go together?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else you could. Or maybe she thought like, she's trying to think about like, oh, maybe the kid's going down there at night. And,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but
well, yeah. So she suggests getting a cover, so they get a cover for the pool.
Yep.
Which you had to crank. I was like, I know they got money.
Oh, they kind of. I feel like they implied they didn't have a lot though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was implied that they
like, damn, they couldn't get an automatic one.
Yeah, it was kind of implied
later
they didn't
on
have a
they
lot.
have to crank it, you know. And I was like, dang, I wish they had like one that you could just hit a button for.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they had to get a cover. She got a cover for the pool. Now that was her interaction, I guess, with the pool spirits. And so the little boy also. Well, no, the daughter had hers first, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think so.
It really don't matter, actually. Yeah. So she was supposed to be babysitting for her parents. They were going out to something. I don't think they'd ever said what they were doing, but she was watching the little boy and she was like, hey, I got someone coming over. Because at this point in time, she's kind of like on the swim team at her school and she's developed this friendship with this guy that she's kind of got a crush on. Yep. So she wants to invite him over. This is the one scene that we've seen like 100 times in all the trailers when they're playing Marco Polo. Yep. And even in this scene, I was just like, dang, she really is dedicated to this game.
Like, he ain't saying nothing. Well, obviously the spirit kind of took over and started saying it a little bit.
Eventually, yeah. But even then, it's like, time.
Yeah. And then after that first time when she tried to like catch him and he didn't, and you know, she missed.
Yeah.
I feel like at that point I would have opened my eyes, but all right.
Like, yeah, that's enough. What's going on? But so they're outside playing in the pool. They started playing Marco Polo and he gets out of the pool. If you haven't seen the trailer, he gets out of the pool and, you know, so she's still got her eyes closed, still trying to play the game. And he, like he said, he's not saying anything. But then eventually you see a figure in the water. I'm guessing she's assuming it's the boy because she's got to kind of like, you know, peek into her eyes just a little bit.
It's a squint.
Right.
A lot of like POV shots.
Yes, it is a lot of POV shots. Yeah. So it appears someone's there, obviously. So she's still saying it and she's like getting frustrated, but she still doesn't open her eyes.
Right. Yep.
And so eventually, you know, she realizes, okay, something's weird. And then she says it again. And then you hear like the warped voice behind her. And then so that freaks her all the way out. And does she go into the water?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, yeah. Why did she go into the water?
Well, she originally went because I think she thought he was down there.
Oh, that's right.
She started
Which
swimming
made
after
no
him.
sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, you just heard this voice, get out of the pool.
Yeah.
But she dives down under the water.
Yeah.
And then this is the first time we kind of like realize like there's like
a different dimension
depth to this, right? Yeah. Almost kind of like the Get Out thing where you see
when he was like
the little square at the top and then you got all this exactly. So that's why I said like there's a lot of pieces in this movie that seem like it came from other places. But anyways, so she's swimming. I'm like, you know, this pool is not this deep, but she's still going.
Yep. And then that's when she looked back and realizes
that
where the heck down here. Yeah.
You see the pool light, you know, the light that up above, and it's small square compared to this big open area of water that she's in.
Yep.
But yeah, so she eventually swims back up and she's all the way jacked up.
She's jacked.
And then the boy's like trying to calm her down. And from then on, she doesn't really like F with the pool no more.
Yeah. And I honestly thought that they were going to take the approach kind of like we saw in the opener where like the dude wasn't there at all this whole time. Like, I thought
that would have been cool.
I thought he's going to like show up and been like,
hey,
sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Crazy. You know? But no, they didn't do nothing like that. But I think that would have been kind of interesting. But
yeah, so then her parents come home, so he leaves, and that was the end of that scene. Like it just ended.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, so that was her experience with the pool, and then the little brother also had an experience where at this point the dad is feeling really good, like. He's starting to feel like
making him
his
stronger.
old self.
Yep.
And so the mom is like, hey, you know, like if you want to go to the pool, their dad has to go with you. I don't want you out there by yourself. So he goes to ask his dad to come with him, but he's like, he's not really.
He's preoccupied. He's
working
feeling
out.
Himself. He's like getting back into it.
Yeah. So they have this game where they like throw coins into the pool, which I had never heard of before. So I was like, I've never played this game before.
Yeah.
But so he puts like a smiley face on the coin and tells him, hey, like I'll be out there after a while. This will be like the one I, you know, come dive for. So he goes out to the pool by himself. I was mad at that because I was like, why would you do that?
I don't know. Well, I guess they're just really trying to show this dad was just like super absent-minded. Like he's so
focused on everything
sucked into like trying to get his life back.
Yeah. Yeah, so he goes out by himself. He's playing, and you already know something's about to go down.
Yep. It's his turn to get his experience.
He's about to get his experience.
Yep.
And I don't even know how it starts. Do you remember how it starts?
Well, like he was underwater and a coin came down.
Oh yeah,
and so he went and grabbed it, and went back up,
because his mom was like, "Stay in the shallow end," and they were, whatever this was throwing the coins down. But
his dad told him to stay in the shallow end for him,
right, to the deeper end. So he's following the coins down to the deepest parts of the pool, and he ends up like near where the diving board is.
But I think the dumb part before that though is when he grabbed the first coin, he came back up looking for his dad.
Oh, that's right. And his dad wasn't there.
But my thing is like, okay, if your dad's not there,
why are you still going after these coins?
You go back down and another coin comes down. You gotta think to yourself like,
what's going on?
What the heck? Like,
yeah.
Why would you not go back up and be like, okay, something weird going on?
Right.
Yeah. So that was just stupid.
You're right. Yeah. And he does end up near the diving board, and you hear like something like
go on
heavy on the diving board. He comes up on the diving board, doesn't see anything, gets back in the pool. And I was like, boy, go in the house. Right. That's what I'm saying to myself. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And doesn't it happen again?
With the diving board? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I know he was hearing stuff. Anyways, he eventually hears the voice of the girl inside of like, I don't even know what it's called.
The little
vent thing in the pool.
Yep.
And she's like, asking for her mom. And he's like, who are you? And she says, my name is Rebecca, which is the girl that went missing in the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And she's like, I found your toy. So he sticks his hand in there.
To get the toy.
To get the toy. Just reminds, like you said, like it.
Yep.
He puts his hand to get his toy back. And then when he pulls out his toy, it's like covered in like hair. And then when he looks back into the vent, he sees the creature thing.
Yep.
Now, what did you think about the way this creature looked?
It almost looked just like
I think we also talked about it.
We talked
about the trailer too.
Like a decomposed body type of look.
Body.
That's what it just looked like to me, and it looked like nothing other than that, like a zombie almost. Yeah, like a
now it does sometimes looks like a woman, and then other times we see it looks like a man.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
From when the girl was in there. Yeah.
Changes. I was just like, what's going on?
Yep. That thing reaches out, grabs his arm. Big jump scare moment.
Yeah, it was. Yep. So then he, obviously runs back in to tell his mom what's happening. She thinks someone's outside because she saw someone earlier. So she ain't playing no games. So she's is anyone out here? She was hot. Yep. And so she tries to get, understanding of what happened. He tells her that, the girl said her name was Rebecca. And she does bring that back up later. So she ain't forget about that. So that was his experience in the pool. Yep. Now I don't know what happened after that because I forgot.
Like, I don't remember what happened directly after that, that part, but I know that the only thing I can really remember after that is I go to the baseball game. Yeah. And because, the dad was like, oh, they invited me to come out there during one of the practices. And, so the dad meets the team. He's like coaching people at the coach people how to bat. His son goes to bat. He does pretty good too. Now the actual coach of the team's got a son too. And like, his son's really good.
Yeah, so
you can tell the dad kind of like likes
he likes that kid.
Our main character dad kind of likes him a little bit. And then the dad eventually, what is his name? So we can actually
I forgot.
Put a name to him.
Ray.
Yeah. So Ray, the dad, he goes up to the plate because the other coach is like, hey, like you want to hit the ball, and he's like, sure.
Oh yeah.
And he misses the first like one or two
times.
Yeah, and then he like cracks the next one, like blows that shit like out of the park. And so like they're all hyped, and you see the son just kind of off to the side, like his dad kind of stealing all the thunder. Yeah.
And even the mom is like why are you doing this?
Why, you didn't come off here to show off, and why the son's out here to make friends.
Trying to make friends, exactly.
And then so after that part, only thing I can really remember is the next thing is the pool party.
Yeah, the mom suggested having a pool party to kind of like bring people. Well, she wanted to have a barbecue. He's the one who says, well, let's have a pool party. And they invite everybody, like people from the team, the real estate agent. I'm assuming people from the neighborhood as well, because like the way that they were looking around the house, like they trying to see what was going, like what the house looked like and stuff like that. And I feel like neighbors do that kind of stuff.
And I've said, like, you know, at different points throughout this film, we see the dad interact with the pool a lot. Because I think there was even one scene at night where, like, she heard the cover get uncovered at night. He was out there swimming and laying in it and all types of stuff. So
yeah, he does. He spends
so
a lot of time in the water. So the dad has been really
sucked into this pool.
Yeah.
But go ahead. They have the pool party.
Yes, they have the pool party and it's jumping. Elliot, the son, I think his name is Elliot. He is like determined to kind of like catch stuff because he feels like something is going on in the pool. So he sets up a camera to try to catch something. And
Izzy was the daughter, and you know she won't play. She won't get in that pool.
Yeah, because her friend's like, "Hey, let's get in," and she's like, "No."
Good.
She did not get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while they're out there, the son, the kid that the dad does like that plays baseball really well. You know, their family is there. He's like, "Hey, let's, you know." What is the name of that game? The chicken game or some kind of game where you put the kid on your shoulders and you like try to
it's a traditional game.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. But anyways, they play that out in the pool. And then the mom is also in the house talking to like, you know, the other ladies and the real estate agent as well. And during that conversation, the real estate agent does tell her about the family that lived before. She says that, you know, a kid drowned in the pool. And then the mom's like, was her name Rebecca? And she was like, yeah, how did you know that? So the kid obviously heard the right name and had the right story.
She felt very weird about
at that point, she's like, okay, yeah, something definitely is off. Then Elliot's watching on the camera, and at first you're like, okay, poor kid, because he sees his dad playing with this other kid instead of with him. But he was looking for him at first. Yeah. But then when he saw that other kid, he was like, okay, I'm, you know, go play with him. So yeah, they're doing the little fighting thing. And then while he's under the water during this, well, they're playing fine. And then eventually they go to like the deeper end of the water. So the dad is completely covered by the water. Yep. And when the kid pushes the other kid over and the game is over, he's still holding on to the kid. And the kid's trying to get loose. But at the same time, under the water, the dad is basically getting like fully possessed by this. Yeah.
And that part, I was just like, what direction?
The movie goes a completely different direction.
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, up to this point, I already thought the movie was pretty, like, uninteresting. Like, kind of the way we're describing it is kind of like how it flowed. Like, it didn't really feel, there's nothing that really, like, is interesting. Like, that happens. It's just, it feels like a very generic story. Oh, this dad is trying to get his, you know, career back. Here's all these different experiences people have at the pool. That's scary. Yeah. And now we're gonna go into this like possession mode. Yeah. Like they're just kind of like uninteresting and boring. Like I didn't care about the characters really at all. Like I think there's a good story there.
There was.
I just don't think the performances felt weird even up to this point. Like I thought some of the acting just felt odd, especially from the dad. And it's weird because Wyatt Russell's been in other things and he's
done great.
He's been fine. He's been good. So I don't know what happened with this one. Like I don't know if like the director just wasn't pulling out good performances. Like, you know, I don't know if people just phoning it in for the kind of movie it is. But like I was just kind of bored. And then this happens.
You were bored because I was literally like, "Are you asleep over here?" Because you were like this.
Yeah, because I was just like, man, this is so. Boring. And like, you know, they're like, you know, since it centers around this pool, they're trying to make it, you know, suspenseful and interesting in regards to the pool. But just in my opinion, they couldn't figure out a very creative way to do that.
I agree with that.
And I feel like this part even shows even more to validate that point that they really didn't really know what to do. Yeah. It's like, all right.
Let's just
he gets fucking possessed.
Yeah.
And then
you're also
thinking, you're like, what is this entity? Like,
well, we'll get into that. So he's getting possessed by whatever, and he's still holding on to the kid. And eventually they get so far deep down in the water that now the kid is under the water. Yep. I was like, dang, this is pool deep.
Yeah, it's like a regular pool. It's pretty deep. It's probably like a 7 foot, 8 foot pool.
I'm thinking about how tall the dad is for him to be completely covered, and then the kid sitting on top of his shoulder. So it's got to be deeper than that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably like
true.
10 feet.
Like a 10, 12 footer.
Yeah. Anyways, So now they're both under the water and he's splashing around. So Elliot's watching through his video camera and he sees that something is wrong. And so he runs to his mom, tells her, something's wrong. So they go outside and the parents are looking for their son at the same time. And then that's when they realize
the dad spots the son splashing.
So they grab him at the pool and they realize that the dad, Ray, is still under the water. And so they pull him out and then, they do CPR on him and he wakes up. Now the police are called also
because it kind of skips right to the police being
outside. So the kid's parents are livid at this point.
Makes sense.
Yes, it does. And so they're the mom is like, he's got like this
muscle issues.
He couldn't help it. He was also drowning.
He would never do that.
He wouldn't do it on purpose, right? And so the dad's like, okay, well, we won't press charges, but we don't want him anymore, coming to any of our practices or anything, and just stay away from our family. And then the mom is still trying to apologize, and the wife is like, did you not hear him? He said, stay away from our family. She was hot.
Yeah, she was.
So yeah.
Now make sure we put a pin on this moment too, as in relation to the end of the movie as well. The fact that he was trying to kill him under that water. We got to bring that back up again when we start talking about the purpose of the entity, what it's trying to do.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. But I'm saying, remind me to bring that back up.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Yeah. So they didn't press charges. No one got in trouble or anything like that. And then after that, the mom was like, okay, we got to go because something is just off. And so
they actually packed up.
She that's why I said I really liked the fact that this mama was like on top of it. You know what I'm saying? She didn't keep brushing things up under the rug. But yeah, so she was like, we got to go. So Ray was kind of like acting sickly, I guess, and just really out of it. But when they get in the car and she's like hitting the reverse, he starts like convulsing and stuff like that. So they ultimately had to go back into the house. And then so
which I don't know why. I don't like that plot device.
I know. Well, it's all connected to the to the stuff. So just
I get the reasoning, but it still feels cheap.
It does. So they can't leave. So
they stuck.
The mom is like, okay, well, I need to figure out what I can do. So when she goes to school, she's Googling, trying to figure out about the family that lived there before. But she also uncovers that it wasn't just the family that lived there before, but multiple families that lived there, as well as what was on the I guess the land before that, which we don't really get any insight into that, because they had pictures of it looked like a hospital or like some nurses or something like that. So it looks like there was other stuff that was also there that also affected other people years and years and years and prior, but we don't get nothing else after that. We just see some pictures, some old photos. Anyway, so she calls what's her name? The real estate agent to find out where this family went to.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So she shows up at the previous owner's new house where they live at, which is just now the mom, and she's older.
And the son.
But he doesn't live there. Yep. She's talking about her son. She invites her. She was nice. She's like inviting her in, like, yeah, come on in. She's talking about her son, and then she's like, well, what about your daughter? And she's like, no, didn't have a daughter. It was just my son. Yep. And, during the course of the conversation, we realized that the mom is effed. She's still connected to the water.
She got the water
in the house. Like the water is in the little fountain that she has in her house. She's drinking water. I was like, I bet you this water is from the pool. But I don't know if it was or not. I'll get back to that in a second. Okay. Just put a pin in that as well. Okay. But anyway, so the mom is obviously acting weird, and she does eventually go into explaining what happened. Yep. So
we learn all about the pool.
The big thing they kept repeating is that love is a sacrifice. They repeated that a couple times through the ending part of the movie that they added in there, obviously, because that wasn't anything regarding the earlier part. But so she basically said that the water makes you sacrifice someone for a wish. And in this case, the mom her son was sick. So early in the movie, we saw that her brother, like the little girl's brother, was like hooked up to machines. Like he was in a hospital bed. Yeah. So her wish was that her son would be okay, he would be healthy, and so she had to sacrifice her other child for that child, and she still was, I guess, in control by this entity or whatever because of the way she was acting, and then she started like crying. This black stuff was coming out of her eyes. And
actually, the flashback to show how she heard her daughter and everything, and she had locked the son's door to make sure he couldn't get out. Make sure
he couldn't leave out the room, and so back to like what I said earlier, like you could hear in her voice that something wasn't right with her. Yeah, and so something wasn't right with her. She was obviously already taken a hold by this entity that now her husband is being affected by. And so she put the pieces together and realized that, her husband was now being controlled by whatever this was, and that one of her children was in jeopardy.
Yep. And that lady also mentioned that the house was built on like a spring that grants these wishes and stuff like that.
Yes.
So the spring,
the water itself is feeding into the pool. And so that's what another thing I was wondering is where I said put a pin in, because apparently the pool was connected to a well. And the pool guy was saying, how cool that was, and, how it was like a natural spring, and how these natural springs in this area, had these healing waters at one point in time. That's what they said it was. And my thing is this, like, I grew up in a house that worked on a well, and the whole area that I lived in, all of those houses had well water. So I'm wondering, like, why is it only this house being affected by this water when they got all these other houses on the block? Like, that's how a well works. Like, it's all connected. So why is it only this house that's being affected by the water? That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So that's why I said, is the water specifically from the pool that the one that the lady had in her house? And if not, then why aren't any other people losing their kids in the water?
Yeah. Maybe you gotta like swim in it. So if you don't have a pool, like, it can't affect you.
But see how the water was when the little kid was drinking the water? Like, well, it wasn't just swimming water. It was even if you're drinking the water.
That's what I'm saying. That's just another problem with this film.
It makes no sense at all.
That's how I'm going to rationalize. You got to be able to swim in it.
That doesn't make sense
when you connect all the stuff. But then also the sacrifice things doesn't make sense either.
No. But so we'll go on with that. But so she's... we don't see the mom again until later, but so we assume that she's leaving there and going back home. So back at the house though, the daughter and the son and the dad are at home, but then the dad he's in
full Amityville horror mode.
He's doing some kind of contortion stuff. He's in the shower, so you can see like the stuff through his neck and in his eyes. He starts to look just like the mom did at that old Asian lady did at the time. But so then stuff starts to go left at this point in time. I don't know how the kid saw the boat, right? Isn't that how he went back outside to the pool? I know we saw the boat again, but I don't remember the cat.
Oh, it was the cat.
Earlier in the movie they lost their cat. So he thinks he hears the cat outside in the pool.
That's what it was.
That's how they lured him out there. So he's trying to get the cat that he thinks he sees. Well, he doesn't really see it. He thinks he hears it on a floaty out there. So he crawls across the diving board to reach for the cat, and then he realizes the cat's not there, and then we get a jump scare.
And it like pulls, because he's trying to he was holding on to the float, and it pulls him in.
Pulls him in the water. And
he falls to the float, kind of like how his dad fell into the tarp in the beginning.
Right, yeah. So he's down under the water, and then the sister's in the house. She's realizing things are weird too, but when she comes outside, she tries, because the tarp starts rolling, covering up the little brother. So she tries to roll it back, but she can't because it's messed up or something like that. And so at that point in time, the mom shows up and shows they're both trying to roll the tarp back so she can get the brother out.
And there was like a chase sequence right before that where the dad was chasing her around the house. Remember?
Oh, I thought that happened.
No, because I think once they're both outside,
he was like, "Yeah, you gotta let it happen."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was trying to like lock her.
He was trying to keep her from going outside. Yeah, that's right. Man, he bitch slapped the mess out of her too.
Oh yeah,
the daughter. I was like, dang.
Yeah, that jump
he
was crazy.
smacked her super hard.
Super hard. Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely in full Amityville horror mode right there.
Horror mode. Yep. But then so then she gets outside, does the crank, mom shows up, and that's when the dad comes outside too.
Yeah.
And you know, that the whole like battle thing happens. She gets the bat. Knocks him out. And the mom jumps in the water to go after the son.
Yeah.
And she goes way down because the son
ties herself up to a she doesn't tie it. She ties a hose holding on so she can have air. How did she go deep before? Like, how did she know it was gonna be deep?
Oh, she went down there and like looked or something like that.
Okay, then she came back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was like, I don't know how she double. Yeah. So she uses the hose to have air, but then she can't take it anymore. Yep. So she takes one big breath and then she keeps going.
Way down there.
Way deep. Yes.
To the point where we see like other spirits.
A whole bunch of different people down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, she eventually finds him. And as she's swimming up, the other little girl, Rebecca, shows up to kind of like stop her. And then we realize they're going the wrong way.
Yep.
But she has the coin. She lets the coin go.
Sink.
And it sinks, right? So they have to flip around. And then she realizes that they're going the opposite direction. So it kind of like tricks them. The water was like tricking them. That was interesting
because I was wondering, like, is it because she hasn't been down there long enough that she is helpful? Because the other spirits seem kind of nasty.
Like, yes, it did. Maybe.
Like they're corrupted or something.
Of who she is. I don't know.
Because she had been down there for a while. Because she was a kid. She got taken. And the son was like, grown. She said, he's
true.
off in like
he wasn't
Washington D.C. doing
adult.
some political shit. So it's like, how long you have to be down there to get corrupted by a spirit? Because she was helpful, but everyone else seemed like they was like wraiths and nasty. And,
they did. Yeah, it didn't make sense either.
That's what I'm saying. It don't really make a lot of sense
unless it's because she was a kid. I didn't see no other kids.
That's true. Maybe that's possible. Yeah.
I don't know. That was weird. But yeah, the other spirits down there, they seemed like they were trying to make them stay down there.
Right.
But yeah, so they end up getting out.
Yep. And then once the son gets out,
the dad comes out there, right?
Yeah, because the dad got the stuff out of him. Right.
No, not right.
Not yet. Or
no, he's basically trying to kill them. So he like grabs the mom by the neck and he's like choking the mess out of her. Like he lifts her straight up in the air. He's strong as hell. Yep. And the daughter comes out there with the bat and she beats his ass. Yep. She hits him like 3 times. Out of him, she does.
Yeah. Well, no. They had the Conjuring moment. That's what you call it.
Yes, I was like, this is straight out the Conjuring.
She has all those like family flashbacks and stuff like that. Yeah, talking about love. And that's what got him to get the stuff out of his system.
Just like the Conjuring.
Yeah,
except they wasn't, praying.
Yep. So he spit the stuff out, but then they realized that now the stuff is in the sun.
Yes,
and so
because they were trying to leave, and he was doing the same thing that he was doing when they tried to leave earlier. So he's like. What did he say? He said it needs the life or something like that. Yeah. So something. He said something else. I don't know what he said. He was like
it wants a life or something.
Nah, it was something else. But anyways, it doesn't matter. That's basically what he was saying. And so he basically sacrificed himself.
Sacrificed himself, yeah.
Now this scene was weird to me because if I'm thinking about myself, like if it's me, our kids, and we just survived this, and I'm watching my husband, the man I've spent years with, go jump into a pool and sacrifice himself, I feel like I would be a lot tore up. I would be tore all the way up. Well, these people definitely didn't seem to be affected. Yeah. They were just like, okay, well, that's gone now.
I think that's on the director and directing that scene and saying how it's supposed to look and feel.
Because they definitely didn't hit the mark on that.
Yeah, they could have made it way more emotional.
It should have been emotional. And it wasn't. Way more sad and
depressing.
I was like, wow.
But even like them after that, like covering up the pool with the dirt and stuff, like they were so casual about
everything was super casual after that. Yeah, they end up covering up the pool. They decided to stay in the house. They didn't leave because they didn't want anyone else to be affected by the water.
Yep.
Because apparently you wake up the water. Remember, they was like, yo, it awakens when they sense a new people.
Right. Oh, true. Yes.
So yeah, they didn't want anyone else to be affected by the water.
Now the question is, does the kid get a wish now that the dad died and the water was in him? You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh.
Because like my thing is, this is another reason why it doesn't make sense, right? Like you basically completed the loop essentially, right?
Yeah, the loop is
so
ended, right?
That should mean that the kid is still affected, and whatever his wish is,
kind of because the mom was still affected,
right? Whatever his wish is should come true, you know. And the only thing I could think of is he probably wished that, you know, maybe like his dad loved him or his dad paid more attention to him, and because they were watching the video with him.
He did have a video at the end of him talking about how much he loved him, and he just himself didn't really know how to show how much he loved his kids. Yeah.
But even then, I feel like that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
No sense at all.
But I mean, that's the end of the movie, basically.
That was the end. There was a lot of I don't know. They obviously tried to come up with this lore, but they didn't explore the lore whatsoever. And I feel like it was a really big missed opportunity. So like the pool itself wasn't haunted. The water was haunted or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, even then, it still doesn't make a lot of sense because like the dad got possessed by black smoke, right? But then we see black smoke erupting out of the pool when he goes back in it to sacrifice himself. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like, you know, typically if it's like a possession, like the black smoke is the entity. It's not like it tore off a piece, but it still has other pieces.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they didn't fully develop the concept of what this entity is and like how it works. They didn't create the rules of it. So like,
it didn't have
it's just doing all types of shit. It's like, oh yeah, now it's like they were like thinking of scare scenes without like thinking about the rules of the entity.
I don't even know if they did it that way because we got like a handful of scare scenes and they didn't really, the scare scenes didn't really connect to the lore. It was, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they were like, it's almost like so everyone's sitting at a table and they're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like, you know, they went in the water and then this happened? Oh yeah, that would be cool. Let's make a scene like that. Instead of like, you know, applying the rules of the entity within like how you plan to, you know, initiate that first contact between the character and the spirit and to show force or whatever.
Right.
They're just kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? Oh, yeah, that would be cool. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what was happening in this movie. No clear direction, no clear vision. Performances weren't being pulled out of the actors. Everything felt kind of phoned in. Again, to me, it felt very generic in how it felt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, pulling from these different movies.
That's what I was about to say next. Yeah. They just kind of like had a bunch of different ideas and they were like, okay, let's just make this scene like this particular movie. Right. And then everything else around it didn't really like connect.
Like they didn't make
a storyboard.
Yeah. You know, it's not like they didn't know how to develop, you know, obviously this was a short before the feature film and they didn't really know how to take that short and expand it into a feature film.
It didn't.
You know, I think about things like the film Lights Out that David F. Sandberg did. They had
that
the short,
good.
A super short. That junk was super short.
It was.
And turned it and built a story out. You know,
but do you feel like in that case it was a lot easier to create a story around it because it literally was like a monster in the dark. Like you could make all kinds of different stories around that monster or how it would work. Whereas in this case, they're kind of like boxed in, and it was like, where do you go from that?
Right.
And I feel like this does work very well as a short because you don't really have to like explain anything. It's just like a scary pool.
Because it's hard to try to explain. I feel like you can. I feel like there's there is.
Oh, I'm sure that there probably would be. Yeah. I just feel like there were a lot more, you know, possibilities with like that case, the Lights Out case. Whereas with this one, it wasn't a whole lot of possibilities compared to that one. I feel like you can't really compare those two, but I do get the whole aspect of like taking something
a short
and trying to expanding the story.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. The Lights Out one might be a little bit easier because it just deals with a entity in the dark. But I feel like with the pool one, you can, if you're clever enough and you got the skills, you can create a good story out of that. And at least one that's better than this one where you're just doing a bunch of random stuff and not having just like,
it wasn't cohesive at all.
Couldn't think of nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's a whole lot of ways to create, even if it's just a creature.
That's what I think. They should have stayed.
Like, it was just, this was its home right here.
That's what they should have stayed with. Yeah, they should have stayed in that pocket.
And it would have been good.
And that would have been just fine.
They have the whole family battle this daggone creature that has got like another dimension at the bottom that comes out, and they could have even went super fantastical, where it's like, oh, when you go through the bottom, maybe in like an upside down world or some shit. They could have went crazy. They could have did like a Us type of thing too. Remember, in Us, how you had the other versions of them up in this other world. They could have went that route. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things they could have did that would have been unique.
They should have stayed within the realm of, like you said, like the creature and then this pool.
Yeah.
Because then they started expanding it to other stuff that didn't even really connect
they try
back.
To do creature movie, possession movie, like all within this weird amalgamation that just didn't make sense. And it's just poor writing and weird dialogue. Like, the pacing was just bad. The characters uninteresting. It was just boring.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't exciting. It wasn't really scary. Like, I was hoping to walk away from this and being like, damn, I don't even want to swim in a pool no more. You know what I'm saying?
That
like,
was not the case.
Yeah, but that's what you would hope for something called Night Swim, and the posters and the trailers featuring all this pool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was hoping, to be afraid to, like, it almost, like how back in the day Jaws probably made people scared to go to the beach, right? I was hoping this would be a situation where it's like, man, I'm scared to go in the water and like close my eyes and go underneath now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's the effect that I was hoping this film would have had, but unfortunately, y'all, it does not have that. But that's
now I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm very much a scaredy cat. Like, jump scares usually get me. I was not affected by any of these in this movie
you saw all of them coming.
Well, you did. Yeah. You already knew something's about to happen. Yeah.
There was no.
It wasn't created. Their jump scares or their scare scenes weren't creative whatsoever or unique.
The pacing of the pacing of the scare sequences, each single one, were all the exact same, and how they build up to the crescendo and then the fall off. Yeah. Like, the pacing of it and how it worked was the exact same.
Yes,
there's no difference between what I'm going to call the main scare sections, what each family member experienced.
Right. And there were some mixed reviews about this. Like, so there's people who are in our camp, and then there's other people who enjoyed this. But honestly, I probably feel like the people who probably enjoyed most of this movie are like, more like casual viewers or whatever. But
or maybe they just had their expectations so low. They was like, dang, I was, somehow it went. They must have had that shit at like rock bottom expectations.
Now, I did see a lot of people say that too. They're like, well, what do you expect from like a Blumhouse movie?
Sure.
So
yeah, they've made good films. So I mean, like, you could expect stuff to be good.
I did. I mean, anytime, because I feel like I might have wrongly done so. I put James Wan on like this pedestal. So I feel like if he's gonna attach himself to something, it's gonna be something that's worth attaching himself to. Yeah. And so like whenever Blumhouse, they're a little bit more flexible in what they attach themselves to. Like, right. I feel like they're just trying to, build their catalog most of the time. But I feel like in his case is a little bit more, he's more choosy. So I assume. So I expect, okay, well, if he's backing this movie, it must be good. You know what I'm saying? Or at least he thinks it's good. And so like,
I honestly don't think I don't think that's the case. I feel like it's just a situation of it's under the production banner.
I know.
And it's like, okay, we got to sell tickets. Well, what sells tickets? Well, slap James Wan's name on it. It's in his production studio. All right, run it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I feel like that's a lot of times when you see like these statements of like from producer, like this person from this production studio, from the people that made Megan, you know what I'm saying? Like it could be like one person that was on like the team. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
well, yeah, in those cases, but I thought didn't he specifically purchase the rights to this movie? Like he saw the short and he's the one that was like, "Oh, I want this movie. I want to be able to make this movie."
I mean, he probably did, but outside of that, I'm sure his involvement was very minimal.
Well, yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, he handed it off.
I'm more so saying like he was like, okay, this is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do this.
Oh, I think he probably bought the rights, and then like the studio went off and found writers and directors and things like that. And he was probably hands off when it's like, all right, run with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then since it's under the wheelhouse, I'm sure that they don't even got to ask permission. It's just from producer James Wan, because motherfucker bought the rights.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, either way, my expectations were a little bit higher. And I was disappointed.
Yeah, whenever I see from producer so-and-so, like that literally means nothing to me. Like, so for this film on the poster, it says from producer James Wan. That means nothing because like he has no direct involvement.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like now if it said written by then, or you know what I'm saying, something like that, then I'd be like, I'd be like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? So nowadays, like for anything, I feel like it says produced by, like it just in my opinion, like it don't have no weight to it no more.
Not anymore, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this doesn't have that kind of weight. But I get your point though, in that if he's running this studio, that he would at the very least evaluate the work as it's being processed along the way. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's the perspective that you're taking.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean then?
I don't know. Maybe like it's kind of like what you were just saying. That's it. Nothing. I just personally expected more. That's all.
So you don't think, like, are you saying that? Well, let me ask you this: like, wouldn't you agree that if he's running it, that there should be some sort of evaluation process as things are being written or being worked on?
Yes.
That's kind of.
I feel like there should, at least when it's done, he'll be like, okay, well, maybe y'all should, work a little bit on this part, right? Or let's do this,
and be that coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, to help shape and mold stuff a little bit. Maybe I'm sure he can't be there.
Right. Yeah. No. During the process, I'm just
on the set and stuff, but at least in the writing room and stuff like that, he can kind of
let me help y'all out just a little bit.
He'd come on a Zoom call or something like that, and
that's or
read over and
that's what I'm saying.
And talk over stuff. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that 100%. But yeah, this definitely was not it, and
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, we all know January is usually the month that the bad horror movies get dumped off to. Sometimes you get ones that are better than you expect.
Maggie came out in January, right? Last year.
Was it January?
I feel like it was.
It was towards the beginning of the year. But I mean, even that movie is mixed for some people. Like some people really like the movie a lot. And some people were just kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the camp of like, it's okay. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I definitely don't think it's good either. Like it's way better than Night Swim.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that
Heck
much.
yeah,
It's way better than Night Swim, 100%. But yeah, you want to go ahead and get into our rating of this film?
Sure.
I'll let you go first with your rating.
Okay, so my rating is gonna be based off of the overall plot, the performances, obviously how I always include how I felt during the movie in my rating, and I would have to give it like a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also scares. I always include that too. Scares.
Yeah, I'd probably go 1 out of 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, because like. And that one is just from the slight redeemable stuff. Like the opening, I thought was okay.
Yeah,
and some of the.
Well, I feel like the opening encompasses the short. It's like
exactly.
Then after that, it's like okay, let's tack on stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the opening I feel like is probably what you would got out the short.
Yeah, and the opening was okay, and then there's some clever camera work, but other than that, everything else is just bad. Like. It's been a while since I've sat in a theater and watched a movie and been like,
half sleep.
When is this going? Not even that. More so like I'm ready to go. That doesn't happen often for me when I'm sitting in the theater watching a film and like this is so bad that I'm ready to leave.
Yeah,
I would never walk out of a movie because I feel like you gotta see the complete film because you never know how. Things can shift as you're watching the film. Maybe things can get slightly better.
Right.
Maybe they could wrap it up in a way that can make things make sense. So you gotta watch. I would never leave a movie like before the credits roll. But I was definitely like, okay, like I'm This is bad enough. So I'm ready for this thing to end. So kind of just like you know, basing off the same things: plot, the scares, the performances, the technical work, and then, you know, how I personally felt, you know, watching it, how my experience was, how the message, you know, how I received it. You know what I'm saying?
And I really, like I said, I really liked the action of the mom in this movie, and I think that was like my redeeming grace for this movie. Because, you know, she was so, like, you know, on top of everything. Like, I feel like if she would have been like other moms in certain movies, like taking a back seat, I probably wouldn't have given it much the score that I gave it. But I felt like because of her performance and how they wrote her character, that one kind of like took it over a little bit for me.
Yeah. No, it's not enough for me.
Yeah, I liked
it's definitely not enough. That one character and those couple actions just isn't enough to save it for me. It's still gonna be a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
But that's what we think, y'all, about Night Swim. That's our rating. Let us know either on our Spotify Q&A section or in our YouTube comments down below. What do you think about Night Swim? Did you like it? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? How could they have done it better? We want to talk about all those things in the comments, so please do let us know. But yeah, this has been our spoiler discussion on Night Swim, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you watched to this point, thank you so much for watching or listening to the entire thing. Make sure you like this video if you're over on YouTube. Make sure you rate our podcast over on Spotify or Apple if you haven't already, and subscribe and follow on the podcast as well, because I think that does feed into like the algorithm, stuff like that. But make sure you like this video, join us over on Patreon, and you know, subscribe and follow, y'all, to stay up to date on all things horror. Until next time, peace.